Odin.
Ooh,
Odin.
Jeez, I don't see that many of those in matches nowadays.
Odin is an interesting ship. She was a dockyard ship, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And
It
she got
was.
nerfed
It
during
was.
testing. They took away the big thing about her is they took away a lot of her hit points, because she's based, if I recall, and Grunty, you can correct me on this, but isn't she a Bismarck hull, but then changed?
I don't know. I didn't follow the Odin development. I noticed. I only remember that they nerfed a lot of the hit points, and it already had bad hit points. That ship never interested me. It just.
Fair enough.
It
So
was like, hey, we already have Bismarck. We already have Tirpitz. Like, why does the ship even exist? Like, I fail to understand the point of it.
So to me, the Odin exists for players that gotta have it all. You want the torps, you want the secondaries, you want the hydro, right? That's what Odin. That's what Odin gives you.
That's what I was about to say, because like I'm just looking at this at your screen, Seth, and it does have the hydro, which is like very beneficial, and it's basically a mix between a Tirpitz and a Bismarck, just with lighter guns. And if I ever remember correctly, it was actually a design by the Kriegsmarine or by the Imperial, like just before the switch to Kriegsmarine, where they called it the O class.
Right. Exactly. Now, what wargaming
and that was a stepping stone
into the Tirpitz and the Bismarck. No, you're fine. You're good. Thank you for sharing. And so historically, players had to make that determination, that decision. Do I want to play Bismarck and have the hydro? Do I want to play Tirpitz and have the torpedoes? I can't have both. Well, Odin is the why not both meme, right? And so what they did was they said, okay, well, we'll balance her. We'll give her the toys, but we'll balance her by decreasing her main battery caliber, right? So instead of the 380s that that those two previously mentioned battleships have, we'll give her 305s. So they won't penetrate as well. You know, that'll balance her. And in testing, of course, they found that she was still quite powerful when you combine the radar, the hydro, and the secondaries all together. So the other way Wargaming you know, tweaked the balance was they reduced a really good chunk of her hit point pool. So she still got good armor. It's just she doesn't have a lot of hit points. So you absolutely need to be really good at angling your armor and negating incoming fire and all that kind of stuff. Okay, and because of the 305, because of the down caliber, when you're in a battle, when you're bottom tier especially, HE is your friend, right? If you are top tier, you can get away with AP more, but typically I find myself shooting HE more frequently in Odin than AP because of that gimmick feature.
You kind of have to, because these low caliber guns.
Now, the HE does have 1/4 HE pen rule in play, so it's 76 millimeters of pen with the HE, which is another thing that's kind of nice about her. Is somewhat like the British battleship line, you can just fire HE and not think, and still do fine. So HE is going to be your ammo choice, ammo of choice in this. Odin has better secondary caliber as well. I'm glad that you brought that up, because if you'll note, the Odin has a mixture of 128 millimeter and 150 millimeter secondaries, whereas the Tirpitz and the Bismarck is a mix of 150s and 105s. Why is that difference important, you might ask? I'm glad you did. It's different because with the 1/4 HE pen rule, the 128s will penetrate 32 millimeters of armor built in already, stock. Here it is. Okay? The 150s already do, as it is. So why is that important? If you want to penetrate 32 millimeters of armor with all of your secondaries, you do not need to have IFHE on your captain. That's a huge distinction. Exactly, the freedom to not take IFHE. That's a huge distinction, because what that means is you're not having your fire chance to get that penetration. You can have it, again, why not both, right? You get the fire chance and the penetration all at once. So that's what's kind of nice about her. All right, let's take a look at the build, and let's talk about what Coughlin's doing here. So he's going auxiliary armaments modification 1 to keep those secondaries and, to a lesser extent, the anti-air alive. You could also go for main armaments if you care about your torpedoes more. Although, frankly, I would probably go with you and keep your anti-air up and secondaries up and running. You've gone with the hydroacoustic search modification 1, the special upgrade, so the hydro lasts longer. This is really good for ships that you play a lot. So if you play the Odin a lot and you enjoy it, then by all means, invest the coal and put one of the special mods on. If you didn't run that, obviously your standard damage control is probably where you go. You went for secondaries. I mean, why not? And then you've gone with damage control for full tanky battleship things. And then you've gone for concealment. Makes perfect sense. I do not like seeing the fighter, though. And there's 2 reasons for this. Actually, 3. One reason is, if you look at the action time, the fighter is active for 60 seconds. Compare that to a spotting aircraft. It's active for 100 seconds. You get 40 extra seconds of the plane up potentially spotting things. Also helping you shoot longer range and more accurately and closer range and see over islands. Those are all really good benefits to spotting aircraft. The next reason why fighter is not as good as spotting is because most decent to good carrier players don't give 2 Fs about your fighter. They just simply time it so they attack you while the fighter's on the other side of your ship, and they're not going to hit because they'll F off and they'll recall their planes before the fighter can even latch. So
I mean, what the fighter does, it stops the second attack because it forces the CV to recall.
Correct.
But that's pretty much all it does.
Correct.
And if you can exchange that for actually having a spotter plane to extend your range for when you need it, that's much better.
Correct. I would agree with you. The other thing too, when I play carrier, if I see a cruiser put a plane up, I'll just make a mental note. Okay, I'll come back in a minute.
Yeah.
I'll go drop something else and then come back on my next wave. You know.
But wait, how long does it take for the fighter to be reactivated again?
90
it
seconds.
Takes like 90 seconds, right? Yeah, 90 seconds. So yeah, it makes sense as to just as a CV player to go like, oh, okay, I'll just come back in between whenever you launch, because I mean, there's nothing that, and including on a tier 8 German battleship cruiser kind of hybrid mix, it like the AA isn't superb on it. I've noticed.
No. So
none of the German battleships have good AA.
No.
Yes,
the cooldown is faster on the fighter compared to the spotting aircraft, so I can see that. But honestly, dude, I used to be a fighter enjoyer. Now, every time I can put a spotting aircraft on, I will do it. So, now, Coughlin did say he's running Lutyens, which is fine. You're gonna run a secondary build. That's gonna be fun. Coughlin, where is Lutyens trained for right now, if you don't mind me asking? And he just said, fighter may be a legacy thing for me. I put on German battleships because extending their range doesn't do that much accuracy-wise. It actually does. The thing that people don't understand, getting back to the spotter plane here, is it helps with your vertical dispersion at things that are at your standard max range. So not the buffed max range, but your standard max range and everything closer. It makes it so that your shells don't disperse as much in terms of depth. So it actually does have an impact on German battleships. Every battleship, frankly. So the reason I was asking, he's on Elbing right now. Okay, fair. So this is just a dedicated secondary battleship. The reason I was asking is because you wouldn't put this build on a Schlieffen necessarily. You'd want the IFHE on the Schlieffen instead of, you'd probably have to increase the gears for it. So.
Right. But you can reuse this build on a Kurfürst?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is good on pretty much every other German battleship other than the battle cruiser line. So, and the premium variants of, like, what is it, the Azure Lane? I don't remember which one, the tier 7. But anyways.
The Heinrich?
Yeah.
I don't know if the Heinrich needs IFHE.
I don't know why.
I'm familiar with It's secondary calibers.
So anyway, let's get to this build. So this is Lutyen's, buffed Lutyen. So you get the extra 5% secondary and anti-air survivability. You get the buffed 15% higher, better risk of modules becoming incapacitated. So that's really sexy on a German battleship with torpedoes. You've got buffed grease the gears so that your main battery turns quicker, which is nice. And then you basically did full secondary memes, right? You've got adrenaline rush. You've got your manual secondaries long range and manual secondaries aiming, fire prevention, and emergency repair. Hey, Gaelic. Now, one of the big things about doing this build is it forces you to choose 2 of these 3 traditional tank options for battleships. So you've gone with the extra heal and the extra duration of that heal and damage control and fire prevention. Okay, fine, you're giving up concealment for this. Now, what that means is you can't play this ship, especially this particular ship I talked about earlier having low hit points. You can't really play this particular ship open water, right? You need to, if you're going to get rid of concealment, you need to play closer to the islands and use those islands to block vision as you approach. So mentally, that's kind of what you need to be thinking about, and I'll try to highlight that when we look at the replay. Otherwise, it's your standard secondary build, so that's fine. Ooh, you are playing with fire there. You're running this game without protection. He is not using a death flag. Interesting. You have the 4-point reload on Lutyen's, but only use battleships in brawls and operations. Well, then that makes sense. Yeah, you're talking about close quarters combat. When your secondaries are active, your main battery reload time decreases. So you probably drop manual secondaries for that. Or if you're only playing brawls and co-op, you can probably get rid of one of these. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, frankly, at that point, if you're talking about a co-op and ops build, I would do close quarters and I would do furious. Why not buff your main battery reload time even further when you're on fire? Because when you're on brawls and co-op, chances are you're going to be on fire, and you don't care because the games don't last that long anyways. So I would just go for that. And laugh. Anyway. So no death flag. Oof. Ramming flag, fire reduction, flood reduction, heal boost, secondaries, all good stuff. I would like to see that death flag. Speed actually comes in really handy for German battleships, especially hydro equipped, because that gives you a little bit more maneuverability to dodgy torpedoes. Consumables obviously would be good, so those would be my 3. This one, and this one. Thanks.
I would like to see gun feeder on the captain, but I don't know how you can incorporate it.
Gun feeder, I think, is more for a specific build for this particular ship.
Yeah.
And technically, you can make the argument for the other down-caliber German premiums, right? Like Mecklenburg comes to mind.
Yes.
So, Conklin says signal economy is still a thing, and that's fair too. This is a random battle, so if you're conserving flags and credits, fine, nothing wrong with that. All right, let's get into our replay. Now, just in case he doesn't die, we'll go ahead and just take a quick screenshot of his ship. Moving up forward, there we go. Yeah, if this was ranked battles or clan battles, obviously, or a tournament, you definitely want to have anti-death flag. Makes sense.
Awaiting instructions.
Okay, I got the Odin ready to go.
Always have protection.
Yeah, especially in a tournament environment.
Mm-hmm.
Did I load up the Des Moines? I did, okay. Hey, Frank, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome aboard. As a reminder, we do have a giveaway going, exclamation point ticket good. Exclamation point ticket gets you in. Sees nuts over on YouTube saying Mecklenburg has good anti-air. I was reading that as I was saying ticket, so I said Tickenberg.
Tickenberg. Ah, yes, the new German tier 11 battleship that's coming in.
Mm-hmm. Armored Prayer, that's exactly why I said with tournaments, anything training room, you don't lose the flag, so you might as well use the flag there. Exclamation point Tickenberg. So anyways, let's take a look at the map. Oh god, your bottom tier You're up against a Nakimov. Your fighters will mean nothing because it's an all or nothing drop. Kurfürst, Thunderer, Wu Jing, Hawk, Richelieu, Ish, Hindenburg, Cherbourg, Hargamo, Smolin, ZF6. You're gonna have all the fun. Oh my god, you drew a terrible.
Yeah, that.
Ouch.
Like if I was that Nakimov, I'd be licking my lips.
Oh look,
There's
the
a
bombers.
Tier 8 German battleship. That's.
Bombers are already coming. He already dropped them once nearby. Look, you're on fire. I see the Turpits. Turpits is hit point cool.
Harsh, but you shouldn't probably last longer than 5 minutes in this match.
Yep. 69,000 hit points on the Turpits versus your 52,800. Now this is the NA server, it looks like. Hard to tell. No, I think it's the EU server. Anyways, very too aggressive. Very far too aggressive. Like, why are you here? You need to back the F off. Let somebody else play in front of you. Like the Montana would be my choice because he's got really good anti-air. Also, HE is going to be your ammo of choice. How does this ship have so little HP and call itself a battleship? Like I said, it's got the armor scheme. Oh look, you're already half health. It's got the armor scheme, it just doesn't have the hit point pool because balance reasons. That's why. Recon by getting shot at is great in a Kiev. I do that all the time. That's a destroyer. This is a battleship. You really don't want to spot them by smashing. So, where would I be instead? I'm going to bring the minimap up higher. Especially if your Kagura wants to play over here. I would have been up by that fidget spinner island, and I'd be escorting the Des Moines. Des Moines got great anti-air, and together you and him will buzzsaw through whatever you need to do. Far better position for you to be than right here on the quote-unquote firing line, the traditional spot for battleships. You turned where you did because the island shielded your broadside. Yeah, I saw that. It allowed you to turn out. That is very true. But you still got set on fire, what, 2 or 3 times by that Hindenburg? And Hindenburg is actually what you do not want to face because it's got 1/4 HE pen. So it will pen 50mm armor, pens all of your armor. Ouch. Decent hit there on the Hawk. Time to heal again. Fortunately for you, the enemy Hindenburg is throwing his life away. He's YOLO charging a Des Moines. And died. Odin, that's true, doesn't have survivability expert anymore, and that definitely helped it. Good point. Alright, well your CAG buddy is in a really good position to torp Wu Jing and Hawk. And I like, you know, your Benham is coming up too. You did notice how eagerly the Hindenburg showed his broadside before. Well, I mean, you're a tier 8 battleship, you probably felt safe-ish. But at the same time, looking at how he charged the Des Moines, you might have found one of the, let's say, the more casual Hindenburg enjoyer out there. I'll tell you, when I play Hindenburg, I always play at range, and I definitely do not YOLO charge at Des Moines. Yeesh. This Hawk did a fantastic job of sitting there. Richelieu as well.
All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
Is the Benson actually gonna go and die to the Des Moines too?
I need help.
Interesting. Des Moines asking for support. You were surprised? Well, I mean, nobody's spotting any of you all, right? You're not shooting. There's 4 people in the cap, so you're gonna get it pretty fast. And that's the Benson's fault, because the Benson decided for whatever reason to nope out of the area. Okay, this is good. You are now forming up with the Montana. You link up with another ship, especially in a carrier game. I don't care what tier you are and how good your anti-air is. Buddy system in a carrier game is very important. Link up with another ship, interlock your anti-air, and all that good stuff. Wu Jing manages to kill the Des Moines. That's... ouch. You're down 1 ship, but you are up 1 cap. Question is, will the Benham be able to take this guy down?
All stations, requesting fire on the designated
Ooh,
target.
Benson. Secondary click. There you go. Oh, the Nakimov.
This guy. He did not read the map well. He should not be here anymore.
Oh,
The Benson?
my goodness.
Or the
no kidding.
Nakimov?
No, the Nakimov.
Akimov.
Yeah.
Very, very, very delayed response on that fighter plane, by the way.
Torpedoes to port.
If you want to use your fighters to protect yourself from a strike from a carrier, ouch. You have to put them up about 10 seconds before the fighters reach you. If you're later, they won't have time to engage.
Yeah. So, looking at the mini-map, I've gotten in the habit of basically, if I can see about 10 kilometers out, that's when I want to put my plane up. So,
Right.
as they're coming in, and because you're a secondary battleship, you've got, you know, you can kind of gauge that a little bit easier, but... yeah.
Like, it takes them at least 5-6 seconds before they're even ready to engage something.
And then you have to hope that
And
they
then
start orbiting the right direction.
The ship is on fire.
Right, and then they need to actually be in the
Yes.
planes and engage before they start firing, so 10 seconds is about it. Like, you cannot ambush enemy fighters with those, or enemy planes with those fighters. It's not how it works. And that's the most common misuse I see that players make when they have fighters.
Yeah, they just pop it too late. You said that you were doing multitasking here. Well, sure. The Benson at least is smart enough to not sit there and let you hydro rush him. Oh, wait, never mind. There he is.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
And thanks to the joy that is hydro, you can easily dodge this torpedo salvos. Don't even torpedo. Totally not necessary.
The ship is on fire.
I would focus right now on the Wu Jing and just let the secondaries tear into the Benson. Forget about the Benson. You did the opposite. Okay. The reason I'm bringing that up is because you need... double strike. You need to make sure that the Wu Jing doesn't get a really good salvo on your broadside and just chunk your armor.
Much obliged.
Because you are...
Yeesh. Oh, sorry. Isn't Wu Jing basically an Alsace clone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's pretty deadly when it's at point blank range.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
As the Des Moines found out. So...
Yes.
So I would say he's the bigger threat there, and I would absolutely focus on the Wu Jing and just let the secondaries do their work on the Benson. The Benson already dumped both of his torpedoes, and his smoke is gone. He's dead. Like, that's it. Done. Wu Jing boat is something to F with. That's why you were turning towards the Wu Jing while looking at the destroyer. Right, but I would not... It's like a baseball reference. We always used to say, don't take your eye off the ball. Baseball and golf. Same idea here. Don't take your eye off the thing you need to focus on. And that is absolutely the Wu Jing. That's your threat at that point. You came away fine there, but I'm just saying, like, worst case scenario, you'd be coming out of this at about a quarter of your health, or less. Which I have a feeling you're going to need for the later part of this battle. Was Alsace clone reloading? Probably. I couldn't tell if he was shooting at your Kagero buddy or the I think he was shooting at the Montana, actually. You did put faith in your torps, but I mean, if the Alsace was paying attention to that too, he could have dodged most of that. Instead, he just sailed right into them and took 3 or whatever. No, just took the 1. It sounded like he took more than 1, but... Alright. Kerr first. HE. Smallland. HE. Whatever. Now, here, I might be thinking about putting my plane up once the Kerr first dies. Or at the very least, close to the end of it. You should be thinking about it, like if you're about to die or something, like you see torpedoes, pop the plane. Evacuate the captain. Last heal time.
Problem solved, sir.
Oh, oh. Heal? Heal? Shikishima is dropping ASW on the Smallland. Rip your Kagero, who got into a gunfight with the Smallland. Not a good choice. I wonder... He's not running smoke. Okay. Even bigger reason not to get in a gunfight with the Smallland.
Wait, Smallland can't run smoke. What are you talking?
No, the Kagero is divmate Kagero. They just died. He got into a gunfight with the Smallland. Now, what I'm saying is, if he had smoke, okay, I can see that because he can just stop and smoke, and it's still a Smallland, so he can get radared, I suppose. But the Kagero was running torpedo reload booster, so even less of a reason to get into that gunfight because he can't disengage. All right, get ready to evacuate the captain. You think he fired when he had no getaway option? Okay.
The ship is on fire.
And right here, evacuate the captain. And the reason I'm saying you do that is so that you get a... Oh, detonation! The reason I suggest doing that is because if you die and the Smallland is still alive... If the Smallland is still alive, your plane might keep him detected for your team to shoot him. You mentioned something like he was... Got it. Ah, we love ourselves a good death pick, don't we? Yes, if you're gonna get sunk...
Sorry.
Keep looking? Alright. But, so what I'm getting at is right now, that Smallland is still alive, right? So, right now, you'd be keeping him spotted. Technically, the Benham is too, right? But, if the Benham wasn't there to spot, then that Smallland gets away. Potentially gets away. Alright, you said keep looking, so we'll keep looking. And there it is. I gotta do this quickly because it's the victory screen now. But you did come away with what I like to call justice. You got the extra kill. Let's see if I can get him framed while you are sinking. I can. Try to change the depth a little bit. There we go. For those of you guys new to the stream, this is what I always do when we do replay analyses and you die, we take death picks. It's fun that way. Trying to see if these shell chasers will disappear in time. Boom. Death pick indeed. You were close to giving me... Yes, you were, Moore's Elite. You were very low health. Money shot indeed. I wish that the smoke was still here, because that smoke was really awesome. Now the smoke is gone, but the shell tracers are gone too. Anyway. So many death picks in Clyde's Dumb Ways to Die video. Dumb ways to die. Yes.
No, please, no.
104,000 damage.
Many dumb ways to die.
800,000 credits. Not bad. Not bad at all. First place. Very nice. Very nice. In a tier 8 or a tier 10 game. So, Wu Jing, you hit him with your torpedo. And killed him that way. Smallland, you got one of your secondaries. Benson, main battery. Should have been secondaries, but whatever. Richelieu. What a kill steal there. 2,000 damage. Hawk. Kurfürst. Hindenburg. Hindenburg, okay, 4 hits with AP. Arugamo. ZF6. Small amount there, and 5 Nakhimov planes. Now, one thing that I always like to do, especially if I'm not sure if I'm penetrating enough or not, giggity, is I will take a look at the shells that I had, the hits, and if I'm seeing myself ricocheting or shattering more than penetrating / over penetrating, that tells me that I'm either using the wrong caliber or I'm not using IFHE when I should be. In your case, Coughlin, you may think about HE more often. I think you'd have a lot fewer ricochets and more penetrations that way. Possibly start more fires too. Because you fired mostly AP. You only fired 9 HE shells, right? You fired mostly AP. 115... No, wait, that's your secondaries. 56 shell hits for 51,000 damage. So, essentially, you're doing under 1,000 damage per AP hit. That's abysmally low. So, HE more. You notice that during the replay as well. You shot a lot of superstructures. Well, superstructures, you'll still overpen. That's still guaranteed damage, 10% of max. But what I'm saying is 1,000... Like, what's your max damage here? I'm just having out and looking at the AP here. Your max damage is 9,400. So 10% of that would be 900 damage. Yeah, so that's like mostly overpen damage, yeah. HE would at least give you the benefit of additional fires for possible additional fire damage. So, use HE by default, only AP in situations where you anticipate a broadside or to knock out a turret. Fair. Like I said, if you're top tier, then AP's fine because you're up against targets that just have weaker armor. But when you're bottom tier, yeesh. Not bad for credits and XP. So there you go. All right, well, let's get into the replay render. And chat, what are we going to call this? What are we going to title this replay should it make its way out to YouTube? Remember, guys, you're going to have to be voting for which replay you want to see make its way to the YouTubes. What was the big thing that he did? Winner from the bottom. I can make that so sexual. Wrath of Odin. The Wrath of Odin. I like that. I like that.
Why not Odin's Wrath? That sounds much better.
Yeah.
Odin's Wrath. Okay. I like that one. Killer from the bottom. Bottom killer. Power button.
Power button. Oh, God.
Bottom tier rampage. Yeah, I like Odin's Wrath.
I am worthy.
I am worthy, is that what you said?
I just played the game and I killed a boss and my character said, I am worthy.
Oh ship, I'm dead. That's a good one too. Scharnhorst exists with 4k more HP and does not have Hydro. Big thing with Odin is managing that hit point pool. And Coughlin, there were a couple cases when he didn't do that. And got lucky once, and the other time lost a good chunking of hit points early on. But survived to do dirty things, frankly. Off to lunch? No problem, Doc. Rock Damage, thanks for lurking away. Yeah, the only real like feedback early on. Look at the Ilmon. Look at where he is right now. It's on the fidget spinner island. You know, the only real piece of advice I can give you from the positioning is just early on, where you were located. I would have liked to have seen you a little bit different. We'll get into that in a sec here, as the replay render starts over again. Okay. So early on, take a look at where you are. You are on the 9 line. You've got Benham, Kagero, Des Moines with you. What I would be doing at this point is I would literally attach myself to the Des Moines. And wherever he goes, I go. Remember, 2 is better than 1, especially in a carrier game. So watch where the Des Moines goes. And I want you to think, Coughlin, if you had followed that Des Moines, right here you're spotted. You were focused right here. You were focused on that Hindenburg and not paying attention to that Des Moines, right? So here, you come out of the island, shoot, and proceed to lose in the course of the next minute or so about half of your hit point pool. Whereas I want you to see look at where that Des Moines is. Imagine if you had gone up with that Des Moines. Think about what you could have done up there. Still a great game. I'm just trying to point out something to think about. Creating a crossfire with the Des Moines. Yeah, but I mean, the Des Moines isn't... If it was a Stalingrad, I could see that argument, or maybe a Moskva, but I guess, I mean, a Des Moines AP, yeah, it does, but most people, most Battleship players don't look at a Des Moines AP and think, I have to angle to that AP. You're really cured of the notion. Yeah, right, as you lost all the hit points. So, all right, dude, well, thank you very much for the replay. Fun to look at. We're going to move over to our Stream Raiders category.